we try to be mindful of not being part of the problem and be responsible about the way we handle things. We want to, want to speak Spanish. We want to get it. Just those little things carry a lot of weight. Adapting to that and learning that and being a part of this culture is the whole point of it. It's not just because it's different latitude or longitude. You're here to change your life, and that's fun to do. And anything that I can do I find out they do something different here, let's adopt that. Let's do that thing.
Welcome to Valencia. This is not only one of the best places to live in Spain, but one of the highest rated cities in the world when it comes to quality of life. So we're gonna go meet up with one of my relocation clients, Bob, who moved here a few months ago with his partner, Daphne, and see what they like about it. He's gonna show us around some of his favorite spots around the city. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Bob Smith. My wife Daphne and I moved from Atlanta, Georgia to Valencia, Spain 3 months ago, and we're ecstatic about it. I'm Bob Smith. My wife Daphne and I are from Atlanta. At least that was the last place we were for several years. We're both retired now. We were in the telecommunications industry before. We've been retired for, I've been retired for about 3 years now. Generally speaking, a European adventure, and by that I mean more than a vacation, has been on our minds for many, many years. In the last couple of years, got more serious about it, and then maybe about that time, maybe a year and a half ago, I started doing a lot of research on the really cities all over the world to see what would be suitable for us, and both the cost of living, the climate, healthcare, all of the things that we ended up encountering with you when we signed up with you. So we went there, and it was really nice to get the kind of affirmation that we were asking the right questions, and then you asked some more questions about, generally speaking, is expatting right for you? And that was one of the things that kind of cinched it for me, that you weren't shoving people out of the country. You were trying to make sure that these people understood what they were getting into, and that their motivations, everybody goes on vacation and wants to move to the place that they went to. It's not the same. We narrowed it down to Europe, re-looked at the spreadsheet, got more data, narrowed it down to Spain for a lot of reasons: the climate, the relative location to other countries that we would like to visit. I've got a brother that lives in Berlin, and also the convenience of going back to see family in the States. If we'd gone to the Far East, it would have been really cool, really inexpensive, really hot, and really far away. So that was kind of a deal breaker for us. So we landed in Spain, came last January for a visit, and went up in the Basque region and to San Sebastian and some other cities up there. So we took a visit. After a little bit of time in Madrid, we took a visit to Valencia and just loved it. The climate was great. The people are really neat. There's plenty of variety of stuff. It's big enough that we can go to plays. In fact, we'll pass it on the way out of here. There's a playhouse, La Maquina. It's 2 doors down from us. That's Spanish speaking, and it's really neat, and it's kind of young and vibrant. And I think they've got a theater school there too, so I think it's a lot of the students putting on their own stuff, and that's really cool. But concerts, stuff like that, you're not going to see the huge acts come to Valencia. You kind of have to go to Madrid or Barcelona, but there's plenty of opportunity for culture here, as well as all of the little stuff, the little cafes. You can go to the beach, which is kind of being near the coast is kind of an important thing for us, even if we're not there all the time. Keeps the climate nice, keeps it breezy in the summer, so it's not quite as hot. And worked through with your help, with the help of some of your partners, worked through getting the visa through with our eyes wide open, knowing what to expect. that was really nice to have that, not just go in blind and stumble your way through with Google searches and having somebody to ask a specific question. If I've heard that this is true, is this, and then you've got a community of people that can either disabuse you of that or affirm that. It's really been nice.
Daphne, your partner, is currently back in the US right now. So I guess I have a two-part question is, how did both of your families react when you told them, hey, we're moving to Spain? And then how have you been able to balance that now that you have moved to Spain, still getting to spend that quality time with them?
Everything was pretty positive, even though, they would say, we don't want you to go, right? And they're kicking me out the door. Daphne's family reacted similarly. They probably had more misgivings, although she's got several members of the family that have a similar mindset, that they just want adventure, they want new things, they're loving it and they can't wait to come and visit us and stuff like that. Her girls both have littles, and our relationship with them is a very important one. She's back there visiting with them right now. It turns out they grow really quickly. I'm not getting to see them. I'm boompa, and I'm not getting to play with them. And that, while I felt like it was the right thing to stay around here for the holidays, there is a real pain there, and that's probably the most difficult. The helping the girls with the babies. She'd go up there, and when particular things were going on with her girls, that she was able to be there for a week and play with the kids and take care of the kids, or 2 weeks or whatever. So that's been more difficult. It's going to be interesting to see what the back and forth time is for her. And when I go back, I don't know what's going to drive that except for my heart. It will just see when I feel like it's time. We're taking classes. I don't want to miss any classes, and that kind of stuff. I'm getting more and more ensconced in the things that I don't want to miss here by leaving. It's going to be interesting to watch all of the things that I'm looking forward to seeing, the Fire festivals and stuff like that in March. I'm told are just positively insane. So I'm getting more and more things that I don't want to miss here, people that I want to see and stuff like that. So we'll see when I get back to the US, if somebody compels me to go.
Getting to more of the nuts and bolts as far as the logical, technical side of living abroad. Was cost a factor in moving abroad? A lot of people come to me saying, I'm getting close to retirement and my money's just not going to go very far to providing the life that I had envisioned for myself in retirement, and looking for other options. So was that something that also factored in?
Absolutely. At least it figured in where we would go. We knew we wanted to go, and for the most part, with relatively few exceptions, we can live more cheaply overseas than we can in the U.S. And it certainly drove the places that we looked at. Like I said, my elaborate spreadsheet had cost of living on everything, and those certainly helped. The idea, and we've said this a number of times, we've got our 401ks and our retirement funds at home, but my goal is to be able to live on my Social Security here, and it's very doable. That doesn't mean you don't dip into that retirement fund to take trips or whatever, but by and large, I really want that to be the case. I would love for that to be the case because of some of the reasons you mentioned. You don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of resentment towards boomers that are still working even though they've got a fair amount of money, and there's not an unfair mentality that they need to move along and make room for the younger people that need those jobs. But they don't necessarily realize how scary it is to not know what's going to happen, particularly with, medicine. You're one injury, one disease, one, event away from just losing all your money. Only in one country. So that's part of it. It's being in a place with socialized medicine where you know that no matter what happens, you're going to get taken care of. You come over, you get private insurance by law, at least initially. And my understanding is, even though I haven't had any experience with the doctors yet, is that there's, that does pay off a little bit, but it's not terribly expensive, and you get good care. Spain's healthcare is among the best in the world. So I'm certainly not afraid of that, and I'm not afraid of losing all my money because I get sick, which is really cool.
What is approximately you and Daphne's cost of living here, and also rent for this 2-bedroom, fully furnished apartment?
We're in an area very close to the center of Valencia, not in Ciudad Vella, but close enough, yet far enough to be away from the major touristy areas. And we're paying €1,500 a month for the rent, and then our phones are like €40 a month for the two of them. The internet's like €20 a month. We're still figuring out how much the utilities are, but they're equally inexpensive. And if you eat at home, or even really if you eat in restaurants, it's shockingly affordable. It's really nice. Now I'll acknowledge that I'm not a big 5-star restaurant guy. I don't go to the most expensive places, but we go to nice restaurants, and you get out and you've paid at a nice place €60 for the two of you, and there's a couple of glasses of wine in there and a postre, and it's the kind of experience that in the U.S. you'd be in for a couple $100 probably, and it's really nice. That said, we try to we budget our meals. We try to eat at home as frequently as we can. We hit the markets probably every other day. There's one that's real convenient to the school that we go to, the Spanish school that we go to, that we'll stop on the way back, and they know us there. The lady at the produce stand is really nice. She helps us with our Spanish. The lady that sells eggs is wonderful. The pescaderia is fantastic. They'll help me with my fish choices if I tell them what I'm kind of what I'm looking for and how I want to prepare it, or they'll help me decide how to prepare it. And it's so different. You can still have a supermarket experience here, but it's way more convenient to bop into the little markets and pick stuff up and actually be exposed to locals that you can talk to. And you don't go in and buy a week's worth of groceries. You go in and buy what do we need in the next day or so. I'm not, we don't have a car. We're not driving anywhere. I'm not loading up a vehicle and bringing all that stuff. And also, there's little markets everywhere. There's easily a dozen opportunities for me to pick up on the 10-minute walk home from school. A dozen opportunities to pick up whatever it is I need, fruits and vegetables, the little bitty shops that have just have fruits and vegetables, or stop. There's a supermercado right across the street for some other things that we can't get. That we're getting sundries like cereal and stuff like that. But it's a little walk. It's just you're steps away all the time from whatever it is you need. So I don't worry about not having the stuff at home. If I need eggs, I'll go over and get eggs, and it takes a minute to do. I don't know what success necessarily looks like, to say that once I said I'm going to do something, I did it. But I like to be able to say that I did the thing I'm I said I was going to do. There are people around me who will keep me honest and not let me cut my nose off to spite my face. But I suspect what'll happen is if I get tired of being here, we'll go to different places in Spain. We'll go to different countries. You know, it's not going to be going back to the U.S. I don't think. I mean, of course that's a possibility, but I've taken some pretty serious steps as far as my relationship with Medicare and stuff like that, that if I go back, there's some hurdles to get back into that system. But if you want to keep from paying, you know, whatever amount it is, a couple $100s a month, just to have that available as a just in case, that's money better spent somewhere else right now. So we'll see what happens then. But I think we're here, and believe me, that's a question that all my friends asked. Is, okay, are you leaving, or are you going to be back? And I said, my intention is that I'm gone. When my brother, 5 years ago, moved to Berlin, he went over for a visit, or he went over with his bandmates, and they were going to do some gigs. And I remember saying at the time, my fondest hope is that he loves it there and he stays there. Not that I don't love my brother, but I wanted him to find the thing. And that's what happened. And he teaches English in Berlin now to German students, and he loves it there, and he's been there ever since. So that's awesome, and that's kind of what I anticipate happening here.
Yeah, I don't think there's any such thing as failure in doing this. I think it's just life changes. Like if you grow up in the Midwest and you want to go to New York to follow a dream, like a career dream, and then after 5 years you're like, I'm going to go to LA. There's no such thing as failure. And so I feel that the same way about living abroad. But I do also recognize that every time I've gone back to the US for a significant period of time, I feel like there's a piece of me that's still like, hey, when are you coming back to your life that is in Europe, really?
Yeah. And
so that's where I feel the most at home, even though I love the weather in Florida. I love my family in the US. So it's just about finding that balance of being able to spend quality time with people, but still follow your dreams and like your life paths. Do you have any words of wisdom to your former self from a couple years ago, or even to people that are still, back in their respective home countries, maybe the US or Canada, who are thinking about doing something like this, but it seems out of reach?
I think what I would say to a lot of folks is that you need to shake that US mentality of everything now, and kind of relax a little bit. And that's not a shot at a type A personality that is driven and wants all those things to happen on time, but just be aware when you come over, it's not, this country is not going to change for you, or at least not very quickly. And that's a good thing. One of the things that, retirement certainly helps that. The workplace would be very different. That, I fully understand that, but it's really nice to just settle into the rhythm here and not worry so much about that. One of the things that people are, I think, when they leave, are trying to get away from is that kind of rat race mentality, the assembly line mentality that we've got. And that, what's funny is to see how people react here when you're like that. If you find yourself slipping into old ways, they're just like, why? That's insane. When you talk about, say, tipping or something like that, where they'll just go, really? Why would you look and you think in terms of percentages? That's again, things are changing a little bit, but that's just not something that enters the mindset of the average Spaniard that's in the service industry. They get paid well, and if you throw a couple of euro at them, whether it's for a bocadilla or for a big meal, that's $2. That was nice. So just be prepared for that. You'll be frustrated by bureaucracy. I promise you. You would be in the U.S. too, and I certainly was in the U.S. There are going to be those things that don't happen in the time frame that you want them to. Be prepared for that and kind of accept it and take things in the rhythm that they're made available here. It is. I promise you, it's good for your heart.